Big Milk. They're a local Toronto band. We got to talk to them later on today.
Yeah, and they're like, musically, I would say they're like a politically charged psychedelic, like modern psychedelic Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like the best way to describe it.
Yeah, they definitely just infuse a lot of the general topics of just all the crazy crap going on in the world in their music, and in such a very interesting way.
Yeah. And just, with a live show, that's a bit of a trip.
Awesome. Check them out.
Yeah.
Hi, we're 2/3 of Big Milk. Fuck Big Milk.
So we're here with Big Milk. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves and what you do in the band?
Sure. I'm Ethan. I play guitar and I sing. And
I'm Griffin. I beat the drums.
You beat the drums.
And Tyler plays bass, but he's not here today, unfortunately. So just 2/3 of us.
Amazing. So if you were to talk to somebody who has no idea who you are or what your music is, how would you explain your band?
I got two ways I usually tell it to people. I say we're like Talking Heads meet Rage Against the Machine, or I say we're a bunch of jazz cats who play punk because it's cheaper than therapy.
Yeah. I feel like we're like a really good band to mosh to. I don't know.
Okay.
Come to the shows and mosh.
Come to the shows.
It's very cathartic. Like I get a lot of my negative energies out on stage. And
Me too.
Hopefully people.
I just like imagine the drum sets like a few certain people and just beat it.
Just like print out a new picture every show.
Yeah, but on the drum set. That'd be a good video, a clip.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Always thinking of new content for the TikToks. That's a good one. Smart.
Amazing. So what got you guys into music individually?
I guess like way back when. I guess music was always like important to my family. They had records around tapes, and my parents would always like argue over stuff. And there was like certain tapes that were agreeable, like Carole King's Tapestry and like Van Morrison's Mood Dance, that would just be in the car because both my parents agreed on it, and then we'd like run those tapes until they died. And I painted a bit, but I would like, buy CDs and listen to them. And at one point I was like listening to like Tool's Lateralis painting, and I was like, whoa, guitar is cool. Actually, I was like, drums are cool. My dad's like, drums are too loud. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I was like, it had just come out. I guess I'm older than I look, but like Lateralis was new. I was painting. I was like 12 or something. And, I was like, Dad, I want to play drums. And he's like, too loud. Let's play guitar. And that's pretty much it.
Smart.
Yeah.
Fair. And yourself?
No one in my family was musical at all, and there's I wanted to play guitar for the longest time, and then my auntie like forced my sister to buy a guitar, and she's like, okay, well, someone has to play drums, and I was kind of forced into it and forced into lessons.
Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Paid off.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So walk me through your guys' writing process.
It comes in different ways. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, what happened at work that upset us? And we'll try to like come up with a motif to write around, or we'll just like jam for days and like end up with, hours of recording of bullshit. But we'll be like, oh, one of those moments was like not bad. And it becomes this seed that we try to like plant and water and turn into a whole song.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of just like leaving stuff on the cutting room floor and just like vibing out together.
Yeah. Classic band style, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's not really meditated as much as some people do.
Yeah. So you do like a jam together and figure out what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're all capable and competent and like expressive. Like we have our voices at the instruments and we can kind of express what we want, I suppose. Like we're very versatile players. We just happen to choose to do this like high energy, loud, in your face thing for its purpose. And when you're all three together, you can like trust fall into each other because like we're taking turns like giving the most energy so that each of us can kind of take a break, and we'll like write our songs around like where's my voice when I yell? Like pick the keys, like where's the highest I can go without like breaking my voice, and like what's the fastest he can play without smashing his arms, and like what's the deepest the bass can go before the amp starts to sound like farting, and that sort of stuff. Like finding the limits of what we're capable of.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me about your band. Like, how did you guys meet?
I suppose the bass player Tyler and I are like really old friends. We've known each other for like 10 years. We've played a ton of projects and bands. I was living in Montreal, but I went to high school in Toronto, and my friends had like met Tyler. He was studying upright bass jazz at York, and I wish that I'd studied jazz and regretted not doing so. So I started hanging with him, and every time I was in Toronto, we'd like form a band for the summer and vibe out. He was having a baby, and he was like, I want to relive my teenage like giant blue mohawk days. And I'm like, sure buddy, whatever. Let's play some loud music before you have an infant. We did that. People seemed to dig it. We played one show like March 14, 2020 at the Handlebar, and then the world shut down.
Yeah.
And we like played a bit more after the pandemic. Our drummer left because he was like a web developer making a game that got like greenlit on Steam, and Griffin came to our last show with that drummer. I got him and his partner in. His partner was like studying philosophy at the school that I was at, and I was like, hey, you want to join the band? And I guess he had fun.
Yeah, I feel like since I've joined, the live shows have got a lot more intense. And it's like, as he was saying, it's more like a catharsis state for us. Like, I feel like definitely between all of us, like, we definitely treat the live show, it's kind of a necessary part of our being right now.
Mm-hmm. So what should I expect from a live performance?
I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but like, it starts off good, and then by the second song, it's just kind of, you're in a different room.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll build tension, we'll cut it. I know, the Cats and Alexis on Fire always talk about that, about how they're like very proud of the way that they can like build tension and like release it, and we very much try to do the same thing where we're like on a journey together, and it's not a constant flow. We try to work with dynamics and speed and tempos and energies.
Yeah.
Ups and downs, side to sides, back and forth, all together.
I feel like we're like between a hardcore punk band and a metal band, where we could like, we have these crazy loud hard dynamics, but then like me and Ethan and Tyler, we've all played jazz stuff, so it's like we also have like dynamics and articulation.
Yeah, not everything's set in stone too. Like we'll see where the crowd's at, and we've like practiced together, kind of like trust falling into each other, like deciding when to make things longer, shorter. If people are digging it, we'll keep it going, and if it's fallen flat, we'll move on quickly. But we have certain blocks that are well composed and constructed, because you don't want to hit someone with something that's like incomplete. But then we have large blocks that are meant to be stretched.
Okay, cool. I like that. Gives you room to like play with it and wiggle. I like that, because like a lot of bands, like they just have like their songs and their set, and like that is that, whether it works or doesn't work, or whether the crowd's vibing or not. So I like that you guys have like left.
I feel like more often times when it's like there's like everything is set in stone and there's so much pressure to do it properly, inevitably like someone fails, especially when there's like more and more like mounting pressure, like this is the structure, we have to hit this. It's more often than not like the outcome is not good.
Oh yeah, and
in my opinion.
And then when you have that like structure and that like okay, this is probably when the crowd's gonna do this, or like this is what's gonna happen here, and it doesn't happen, it's like so much more of a letdown than like if you're just reading the room as you go.
Yeah, and like the audience responds to you to some respect. Like, I mean, we put out so much energy, we're sweating so hard on stage. It's like hard for an audience to not respond.
Yeah.
But like it requires like a critical mass of people in the crowd. Like if you're playing a big room with no one in it, it's gonna hurt. But we've been trying to play smaller rooms and pack them so that everyone has like an excellent time.
Yeah, for sure. What has been your favorite venue to play so far?
I mean, Griffin wants to play every venue in Toronto, so we've been trying to book different places every
I
time.
love
So we've
that.
been
That's
playing like
cool.
places we've never even like been to.
I would say I like Supermarket because they have good bass management, good low end. It's
Yeah.
always fun. But last time there was like a gate on the kick drum, and just like all my cool like double bass fills and stuff were not articulated, and that made me sad. So I don't know. It's really dependent on the vibe too. Like you could go to a place and just have like an annoying sound man, and that kind of almost ruins the night. Like you
Yeah.
could ignore it when you do the set, but then like it's still like not the vibes if there's just like an old boomer on the soundboard. It's annoying, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We played the Monarch on October 27th for a Halloween show, and we did that as like a DIY show.
That was
we,
an amazing show.
Yeah,
that
we
was
didn't.
one of my favorites.
We didn't go through one of the promoters, and we had to book it like 4 or 5 months in advance because like Halloween is so packed, and we just did it with the bands that we were playing with, and we like sold it out. It was packed. There was like live projection. One of the other bands had like an app that would like hear the music as it was being played and like produce this like odd psychedelic stuff with like a fog machine going. The sound was great. Everyone had a great time. And you know, Monarch's small, but it's like, you know, one of those classic venues, and when you can really fill it with people, it's like a lot of fun. Everyone up front.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the hard look, but I love smaller venues for that. It's just like the energy in the room is so like intimate and like it's just very different for sure.
I'm a fan of larger venues
Yeah.
because I play drums loud, and
That's
sometimes
fair.
it's awkward in like a small venue. It's like you really hired like Big Milk to play like this show. Like okay, I don't know. Like that one Supermarket show, the bands did not fit us at all. It's just like okay, we're just gonna like go ham. It's weird, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it's fun to have like that odd one that just like brings the energy level up,
Yeah.
right? And when I book, I try to make sure that the bands are like close enough that like everybody will enjoy them, but like not the same band going on like right
Yeah.
after each other, right? So
I mean, punks generally are like they're very open, like listen to anything. You know, it's all about the vibe, and like a lot of the people that will come hang at a Big Milk show, they're kind of just down for whatever. Like they may not listen to the recordings; it may be too loud for them. Like it's maybe too loud for me. I don't really listen to that much heavy music, but like, you know, if I was to listen to heavy music, I would want it to be like Big Milky. So I just go out and I make that.
yeah,
And you know, if you come out to the show and for you it's like a emotional catharsis, like a therapeutic moment, but you can't, you know, do it at home when you're washing the dishes, that's okay.
yeah,
Come hang out, like it's fine.
yeah.
I don't mind. You know, I'll like listen to, you know, like jazz and classical and like hip hop and like psychedelic stuff, but like when I'm at a show and I want to like beat my body against another body, yeah, I'll go see a punk show. I'll go
Yeah.
be a punk show.
Yeah. So tell me about the name.
You know.
We're kind of against Big Milk.
Okay.
You know, like big pharma, big banks, big dairy. The dairy lobby in Canada is very powerful.
Yeah, the Canadian Food Guide. Who remembers that, right?
Yeah.
Tell you to drink like 6 glasses of milk a day. It's obviously not good for your health. And they lie to you about it, make your bones stronger. I mean, that's probably like the biggest lie ever done.
Probably.
So is the name a bit of a protest then to
I mean, yeah, we're not in favor of Big Milk. It just happens to be like 2 syllables that, you know, at the time we chose it, there was like no other band using the name.
Yeah.
Now there's like 4 on Spotify that are like trying to ride our way, but that just, you know, Spotify doesn't care, and even if you like register it with like ASCAP, BMI, whatever, it's like nobody pays attention to that shit. So we just have to try to be the most streamed and most real Big Milk, so that we end up at the top of the search results.
Yeah, fair. That's fun. So what is coming up for you guys?
We're playing a show that you're booking, December 21st at the Piston. It's Thursday, but it's going to be sick. It's like right before, you know, the Christmas holiday breaks and whatever, so it's a good time to hang with your friends at the pub before going home to your families and all that shit. I'm super stoked. We're playing with Mick Signal and Jacqueline Tucci and Did another band get added to the bill?
No, not as of
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
the bands are sick. I mean, we played with Mixed Signal in the summer
Great guys.
at Junction. Well, it was the Junction Music Hall. Now it's Junction Underground. It's like totally remodeled and very gorgeous, and the washrooms don't smell like pee anymore. It's weird being in there,
Yeah.
just considering what it used to be. But the Mixed Signal cats are really nice. Tyler's amazing, and we're so stoked to play another bill with them. And Jacqueline Tucci's an old friend of mine. She plays bass in Grizzly Coast, one of like the indie pop bands around Toronto. I'm going to be playing guitar in her band as well, full disclosure. And her music's really great. She plays all the instruments on her recordings, and she got a band together to play them. We were like pretty prepped right before pandemic lockdowns, and then everything got disrupted, and recently she's like, let's get the band back together, and we're all like, yeah, her songs are so good. She's really great. It's gonna be a killing show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, Mixed Signal was probably the nicest band. All the guys were very nice.
They are sweethearts. We did an interview with them last month, and they're
Nice.
just the sweetest.
Yeah, so it's just nice to see them again. They're just great.
Yeah.
They're just really kind. I guess we're trying to hunker down and like write new music over the next couple months. We've been playing a lot of shows and we've been busy in life, so it's kind of like hard to balance kind of just like being always prepared to gig and like writing new material. So we're kind of gonna try to do that for a bit. We're sitting on some stuff that's nearly done, hoping to release it in the spring next year.
Cool.
And then just like play a lot of shows over the summer.
Yeah. Is there any like themes that you guys are excited about in some of the new music?
I mean, we've been playing a song called Horsey that like really gets the mosh pit going. It is an anti-war song that we've been sitting on for like years, and it seems like as every day goes on, it's more and more relevant. There's also, it seems more relevant now, a tune called Made of Meat, which is about, I guess, having a body made of flesh. It's very relatable
It's like
to some people.
unfortunate circumstances to be made of like bone and meat. It's weird.
Yeah.
These meat suits.
You're very,
Yeah.
very fragile yet strong. Limited but unlimited. What a conflict. We tracked this like zany little tune with Griffin's friend Adrian, who's an unbelievable saxophonist and multi-instrumentalist, and he was gonna leave Canada on his like second last day right before he sold his saxophone. We're like, come to the session, man. We need to track you. And we saw it called like New Song. We haven't named yet, which is
We killed that last show, I think. Well, my drumming. We had a bit of mess ups, but
yeah, I mean it's really flexible. It's like
Yeah.
it's like somewhere in between being ultra composed and very loose. It very ebbs and flows, and we're in the process of at least like figuring out how to play it live together, because you have to make those mistakes, because when we record we try to get like really crystalline and like specific.
Structure.
We'll like write on the whiteboard how many bars we want here, how many bars we want there, like really set it up. But then when we're stretching it live, there's a lot of like times where things go wrong, and we'll be like, oh, that was kind of goofy, we need to like make eye contact before we move off that chord. Now let's figure out how and when we move so that we can make sure it's excellent.
I've noticed a theme in our conversations where it's like structured but like loose, and I love that vibe for you guys.
I think it's killing. I mean, have you checked out our recordings? What do you
Yeah.
think?
I really enjoyed them, and I can definitely tell that you guys have put like a lot of work into making sure that it's projecting exactly what you guys want, and it's very well written and composed. So we definitely put that work into
We're proud of them. It's a lot of effort. It's like hard knowing that like once you release it, it's like for everyone else. It's not yours anymore, and so few people listen to like independent local music, but those who do get like very interested, invested, they'll like come to the shows. It becomes like something that they connect with. And I remember as a kid like putting on headphones and like listening to CDs and like trying to tear apart every layer and like hear what's going on every piece, and just like obsessively listening to something that like really resonated with me, and I want to like give that to whoever could be like tuning in and wanting the same thing.
Have you ever like because obviously like once you release it, it's the world's, right? So what I guess is like one of the most interesting things that have like stood out to you that somebody's come back and been like, oh, this song makes me think of this, or like I hear this from this song.
I don't know. I feel like I don't get many comments on the songs.
Yeah, the particular things.
I have my own comments on them. Like I listen back, I'm like, oh my god, this is so slow. Like, literally, Big Milk we played probably twice as fast.
Good. Yeah, I don't know. It like I appreciate that a lot of people come back with like, you know, high level comments that like it makes them feel a certain way. Like, you know, the lyrics are designed to be like sloganeering, like very simple because and like a lot of repetition because, you know, I don't think we're at the point where like a Taylor Swift record, like you have tens of millions of people like listening to it and like dissecting it. So I'll just like boil things into a really simple slogan and just like beat you in the head with that.
Yeah.
And like maybe one day we'll move on. And like I feel like the spirit of the tunes is what's getting across. Like if the song's about like I hate my job, I hope you get that, or like, you know, the problems of buying and selling and like being in a transactional relationship and everything you do in life. I feel like that'll be like understood.
Yeah.
You know, how wealthy people can get away with anything. I feel like that's there.
Or like public libraries closing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's
Toronto Public Library.
Yeah.
I wrote a song, Public Libraries Closed, and that was pretty much about like, you know, what do you do where you got nowhere to go? Library's a nice place to go, and unfortunately, like often they get shut down, they get defunded. Now, Toronto Public Library's been victim of like a ransomware attack, and their online systems are totally down, and it's just like, wow, like the public library's closed. Like I remember a couple months ago they were shutting down some branches for like a couple days a week because the budget was done. It's like, yeah, the public library is closed.
Yeah.
So that one's more literal, I guess. The public library is closed, but the rest of them have like just like one layer to peel off before you get to the bottom.
I do love how like how invested you guys get into like your world around you and like expressing it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're the only people that feel these things.
No.
So, you know, you don't hear it much from like what's on the radio or what's out there. I mean, they're difficult topics to broach because it's like it gets so heated, like it's life and death for a lot of people. And that's kind of like what the cathartic effort of like Big Milk is, that like I can like literally go on stage and I'm like, you can't yell anywhere. Like if you yell out there in the alleyway, like people like look out the window and be like, what is going on? But I'm like on stage, there's a microphone, like 10,000 watts of PA, and I'm like yelling at the top of my lungs. Like, you know, John Lennon and Yoko used to always talk about like scream therapy, like the primal screaming, and like that song Shout, Let It All Out. That's about like primal scream therapy. And like I'm on stage like really like giving her, and I feel great. Like for the next month, I'm like, nice. Total peace.
That's amazing. Yeah, so before we wrap up, is there anything that you guys want to talk about or let the world know?
I don't know.
I mean, Griffin's had a bunch of problem with bylaw. You want to talk about bylaw?
Oh yeah, sure.
Fuck the bylaw officer. So Griffin was a registered legal busker in the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, I've been like a busker for 5 years, and I mean, it's had its up and downs. At the end of the day, like I kind of held a spot at Dundas Square for a while.
Okay.
And then I guess this year there was an officer who kind of had a problem with me, so now I'm dealing with a few bylaw infractions court case. But nevertheless, a lot of my frustration that's like shown on stage, like a lot of the catharsis and like wailing on the drums, like it's very satisfying because trying to be a full-time musician, like make money, is incredibly frustrating. And then when like one officer kind of has a problem with you, or like, I mean, there was kind of there's a whole it wasn't just him. It was 51 Division Police Station and bylaw officers and Eden Center, Cadillac Fairview having like a problem with me. So there's partly like large corporations, exactly what Big Milk's talking about, right? But there was a lot of pressure to just get rid of me as a busker. So unfortunately, I'm not really welcome to busk there anymore. But that was like my full-time job, right? So it's just very frustrating to be a musician in 2023 Toronto.
Yeah, so stream on Spotify, follow us on TikTok, watch us on Instagram, and email Counselor Josh Matlow. He's my counselor, but he was like in the campaigns. He's like, we need a city with like buskers, like
Pro
safe
public
for
space.
pro public space, and like we
That's
send
the
him
thing.
emails. He doesn't reply to anything.
Yeah.
You know, email the mayor. I voted for Mayor Chow. Let her know. You know, let her staff know. I suppose.
Yeah, well, I feel like public spaces, busking is like, we should have it. We should have areas for it. Like, the city should be like pro art, pro musician, and I feel like it's definitely
100%.
dying.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
Say bye.
Fuck Big Milk.
Fuck Big Milk.
This Thursday at the Peston, we've got Mixed Signal, Big Milk, and Jacqueline Tucci. This Saturday, come to Seascape for the holiday show with Meiji Venture, Black Budget, Wednesday Bender, Satan, and Starship Experience, and then enjoy some karaoke.
So the topic that we're talking about right now is the fact that the city is reviewing the noise bylaws.
Boo.
So they're looking into suggesting lower indoor noises by 5 decibels and 10 decibels outdoors.
Okay. Well, what is it currently?
Maximum of 58 decibels.
Okay.
So just for reference here, 85 decibels is about the same sound scale as traffic.
Okay.
And a baby's cry is 110 decibels.
Okay. And like a library is 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Household appliances and a fridge and an AC is between 50 and 75. And traffic is 70 to 85. Yeah, no, I am. So here's the thing. It's traffic is between 70 and 85 decibels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And currently we're at 85. And that's with 20 meters away from the sound.
Yeah.
So what that means is 20 meters away from the bass amp that's on the stage.
Which isn't that far.
Yes. Has to be the sound of traffic outside.
And they're looking to lower that by 10, which I guess, would be.
From 20 feet.
Yeah.
Or 20 meters.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's not a lot.
Mm-mm.
That's not a lot to play with for a city that's supposed to be a music city.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's insane, realistically.
I don't know how it's going to survive. I think I don't know. One, currently, how often does it get enforced?
Well, honestly, quite a bit. I know, over at, one of the newer venues that we work with, we do our acoustic nights there. They have quite a bit of issues with people complaining about the noise and bylaw officers coming in and stuff like that. So it is a thing. It definitely is. And it like obviously more like areas with like housing and stuff in it is more of an issue. But like it's been an issue for quite a few venues, and I've talked to the venue owners, and they've all very much complained about how many noise complaints they get.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would be very, if there was, I'd be very interested to see? When the increase, if there has been an increase in noise complaints in the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay, here's the other thing too, is, fun fact.
Fun facts.
When you call in a noise complaint,
Mm-hmm.
and you call in a noise complaint again,
Mm-hmm.
that counts as 2 noise complaints. So it could be the same fucker calling in like 3 or 4 times a night, and that'll count as 3 noise complaints.
Well, that's not very fair. Now, is it then? You know? Other people could be totally cool, and that one person could just be being a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally just being a dick. They might not even have to live in the building that, you know, that the condo is now attached to. Because people make choices to live in apartments or condos above venues. Make the choice. They made the choice. You went to it, you rented it, or you're in a bind and you were like, yeah, I'll take it. And then, you know what? I don't like the fact that I live above a bar. Or you know what? I don't like the fact that I live above a venue.
Well,
And instead of just being like, I'm gonna move because I made the decision to choose to live above a bar or a venue, and instead I'm going to bend the will, potentially impacting a culture of a neighborhood, because when?
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing too, is there has to be some level of understanding if you're living in the city for the convenience and for being close and stuff like that. There's gonna be noise. You're living in a fucking city, first of all. There's constantly traffic. There's constantly people on the streets. Like, I spent quite a few nights in Kensington Market. Do you know how fucking noisy that shit is?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just people talking on the streets in front of the places, right? You either get used to it, get noise canceling headphones, or you move away from the city. Now, here's the other thing, is it's completely out of convenience, because those same people, here's the thing, and like, this is me being a dick, okay?
Be a dick.
I want them to pass it. And here's why. Because I want them to make it so that all the stadium fucking things are super low. Everything is super fucking low. So that when those fuckers who are complaining about the noise all the time go to see the band or performer or whatever that they really want to see, and they can't fucking hear anything from the nosebleeds, then they understand why that shit needs to be so loud.
Yeah. And when you were talking about noise in the city, so currently, I'll just be honest, I'm over by Trinity Bellwoods, Bathurst and Queen area.
Mm-hmm.
I live across the street from a school. The coolest thing, I think, as a music fan, is sometimes, and I do mean sometimes, depending on the band, the noise literally bounces up through the city, off the school, and I can hear the show on my front deck. But I think that's rad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not every day I can walk outside my front deck and it's like, this is Nas and Wu-Tang right now. And I can sit here and listen to Nas and Wu-Tang. And have a, like, you can, it's laudable.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I could see why somebody might not necessarily like that. But you've also chose to live in a city where there's noise, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, think about just, okay, let's say there's a baseball game. Think about that, the noise that carries just from the, like, fucking hundreds of fans screaming. You know? Can't be any quieter than a fucking show down the street.
Also, 4 blocks away, I have a fire department, right? I got a fire hall.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make noise. Sometimes there's a fire, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go off. And that, similar to my, bud stage situation with where I'm at, that's even louder. And it's going to wake some people up. But you live in a city. It's going to be loud.
Well, yeah, and it's the fact that where they want to set the noise restraint at is so fucking low. Because here's one that we didn't read off. A normal conversation, like a conversation that we're having right now, will hit 70 decibels. Okay?
So okay.
So if they're knocking it 10 back from the 85, we're sitting at 5 decibels higher than what we're at right now.
At our legal level of human conversation.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. Like an acoustic place, that's just nuts. Getting calls for noise. I remember Dundas Video up here, used to be Magpie. They used to put on quite a bit of shows, and then they did them early. I actually used to like going because you could almost do you could book Saturday or Sunday afternoon shows like from 3 to 6 or something, like do a 2-bander, and it was like basically free. They were just like, yeah, put people in my bar on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon when it's uber slow.
Yeah.
And then they got complaints and you couldn't, do that anymore. And Pup played there back when they were Topanga. I think they did one of their first album release, like some sort of release there.
Yeah.
And it's gone. See you later, anyways, bylaw. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, like, and here's the thing that I just find so fucking hilarious is if these bylaws come in, okay, this doesn't just affect concerts. This is going to affect a lot of things. Bands practicing in their homes, bands recording, all of these things. So if you're anywhere near anybody, you can't make a fucking noise.
Well, yeah, and I think it also pertains to where you are as well, and where the concerts are going off. Like, I think what this might cause an increase in are just places that are a little more isolated from anywhere residential, where people can kind of get loud, like where Division 88 is, like that area up on Geary. Like, there's nothing really residential out there at that point. There hasn't been for years. There's nothing built around it that's going to be like that. So you're allowed to make that fucking noise, So I think if anything, we might get like an increase of like maybe warehouse parties again and shit like that.
And that's fair, but is it fair to go, okay, here's the thing, is those same people that are complaining are going to be the same people that complain that they don't want to go all the way the fuck out there for a show or for a party. Right? So, again, this is why I'm like, fucking do it.
Right, because the symphony is at like 110. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I feel like doing? If like that was to happen and like a lot of rock concerts just get called, I'm just going to start making noise complaints on like the TSO. Because fuck. And I love the symphony. I'll listen to some fucking Bach or whatever. I don't give a shit. But the point is that like, you can't pick and choose what gets the freedom to express itself. There's freedom of consequence, but like...
Yeah, well, here's the thing is, one, instead of spending all this fucking money talking about the fucking bylaws, how's about we put some money back into the arts and help the venues and places that music are playing to properly soundproof themselves?
Well, that would actually be pretty sweet. Like, what if the fine, what if you actually, like, if you got fined, if the fine actually went into being like, we're taking this money from you, / here's an incentive of it, kind of like, you have to beef up your shit, or you get a warning.
Okay, but here's the thing too: is you know, that money is still then now coming out of the bar or the venue or whatever to beef up their shit. And where does that money come from when you can't fucking put on the shows to pay for it?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. I just, goddamn, I don't have all the answers here. It just sucks. I just want to play, maybe in walking distance to my house. Maybe
you know
not.
what I really think should happen? Here's what I think should happen: is those noise complaints that come in. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they call in for their one noise complaint. If they call in again, okay.
Documented for harassment?
No, listen. They should be fined. No different than you get fined for calling 911 or whatever if it's not an emergency.
Ooh!
And then that fine money should go into...
Beefing up the sound.
Yeah. Well, the soundproofing, yeah. Because then now...
Because it shouldn't be one phone, like you said, it shouldn't be one person calling in makes the complaint.
Yeah, so fine these people for over complaining, and then eventually
if there are then 3 complaints, 3 separate complaints from the venue, then you can find the venue. Then you can maybe go down there and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Okay. That's a great idea. Because you should just have one asshole ruin the party for everybody.
Right, and then
just
that asshole is going to pay for...
Again, that asshole who chose to live there. You chose to live there.
And that's another thing, too, is... I also think that there should be some sort of like based border that anybody who lives a certain distance from the venue, before they even fucking move in, should sign a fucking waiver stating that they know that they're living close to a venue and that there's going to be noise and events and shit like that. And that they won't complain unless it gets to a certain point or a certain time or, like, you know, a certain...
yeah.
You know?
I got you.
You live there. You chose to live there.
I just think
So
it's insane. I just think it's insanely selfish. It's insanely selfish.
Yeah.
To literally be like, I'm gonna move the world around me.
Yeah.
And the fact that I as one individual can make 3 complaints that count as 3 separate complaints that impact the decision and the occupancy of a fucking musical venue operation.
It's absolutely fucking insane. And the fact is, and here's the fucking fact, is nobody can actually afford to live in Toronto properly.
No.
So realistically, the people who can afford to live in these fucking spaces that are complaining can afford
To move.
to soundproof their fucking house.
Yeah, or just move.
Or move.
Just, like, that's what blows my mind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, like, it's even if you were to move, be like, yeah, everything about it's great. It's just, you know, unfortunately I have to live above a venue.
Well,
what is your give and take? You know, or a bar.
Here's the other thing, is has anybody stopped to consider when you're constantly attacking local art and you're constantly attacking local music that you're taking out, completely annihilating the first step and first pillar to the entertainment that you actually pay tons of money to go and see.
Yes.
Right? And this is what gets me, is they're like, well... I'll go see Taylor Swift and pay all this money to go see her. At some point, she definitely played in a shitty little local space and got $20 and a noise complaint. So if you completely knock out that first pillar, that first step for artists to be able to make art and put it out there, to get noticed, to do all those things, eventually it's going to trickle up the line, and nobody's going to be there for your dumbass to listen to and complain about the noise.
Then fun time is over. We gotta wait for Kevin Bacon to save us. It's a hit blockbuster film called Footloose.
But yeah, you're knocking out the first pillar completely, and it's dying.
Yeah, man. Well, like, the other thing that just grinds my gear is that, you know, and we might have said it in the past, is that, you know, Toronto was supposed to be a music city. And we have a Toronto Music Council. You can look all of this up. You might be surprised of some of the people who are on it. You might not at all be surprised by some of the people who are on it. You know? And then you look at that council and you see shit like this and you're like, okay, fuck us then, right? And, you know, I guess we're not a music city if you want to lower the decibels to that point.
No.
You know?
We're a whisper city.
And then, yeah, and then it's like, it doesn't just affect one form of culture, you know? Because movie theaters also make noise. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing too, is when they broke it down, it was a different noise for everything, right? So it's like, here's the other thing that I want, is I want everything. If music venues or whatever has to be at 75, everything has to be at 75. So fuck your kids screaming at the school, fuck you screaming, fuck your kid crying. Your little dogs won't be able to play with their squeak toys because their squeak toys are like what?
I'll pop it up, squeak toys. The dogs, it's like pretty high up there.
It's like 100 and something. It's like 110 or something, right?
135. A noisy squeeze toy. I got it right here. 135.
Okay, so your precious
TBA.
little fucking doggies that you spend so much fucking money on won't be able to play with those fucking stupid toys that you buy for them.
And for the record, a squeaky toy is actually at a higher dBA than actually symphony percussion, which is at 130, and the symphony itself is on an average of 110. Huh. So, what you're saying is a squeaky toy for your fucking chihuahua, a pooch, which isn't even native to Canada, because it will die in the freezing cold weather, but I digress, toy in your condo, you fuckhead, is louder than the symphony as a whole.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
And it's like, I'm sorry, you can make the argument that a squeak toy makes the sound like really quickly, but you know what? That dog's chewing on it for an hour and it makes that noise repeatedly for an hour.
You know it does. I know it. You know it. Don't even fucking lie about it. I hate squeaky toys.
I hate squeaky toys.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know how you know? It's like people with kids gonna understand this. You know how you know you have a shitty friend? Is the friend that buys your kid the noisy shit. Something with battery.
Oh, I have kids, and I have a very distinct rule that you're not allowed to buy my kids anything that that needs a battery.
There you go. Anyway.
I can't.
Anyway, I digress. But point made, right? Right? Like, and that's just in your house.
Yeah.
You know? So...
And that's like, I'm sorry, I would rather listen to a shitty rock band. Okay?
Oh, okay. Shitty rock band or dog squeaky toy?
That's what I'm saying. I would rather listen to a shitty rock band with a shitty vocalist than a squeak toy for an hour.
Yeah. At least the shitty guitar player vocalist is trying.
And at least I know that the shitty guitar player and vocalist are eventually going to get better. The squeak toy is always going to go...
Or if they don't, or even there's even been proof of signed artists that even don't get better, but they just have their thing and people love it. You know?
I mean, fair.
Not everybody loves Tom Waits.
I mean, that's an experience in itself.
Correct. One that probably is a little higher than the decibels that we're discussing.
Yes. But yeah, regardless, like, this is, in my opinion, it is just a way for people to, again, shit on the arts. And you look at it as if you're just trying to get rid of the fucking shitty noises that are coming from your basement, but what you're really fucking doing is eliminating opportunities for artists to do their art. And when you eliminate opportunities for artists to do their art, you eliminate a lot of culture, a lot of entertainment that you benefit from, whether it be at the bar or when you're going to fucking see The Weeknd. I'm sorry, he had to start here too. I don't care. There is a transitional line that happens, and just because you're not privy to it doesn't mean that when you attack the bar for allowing local artists to play, that you're not at some level chopping out the opportunity for even your favorite artist to get to the point of being your favorite artist.
Yeah. I can't top that. I can't top that. That's it. That's where we're gonna end this.
Okay.
That was brought it home there, you know. But how these viewers can maybe be active is write to your local city councilor and being like, hey, I was watching this thing about the noise bylaws and potentially its impact on music culture with my neighborhood, and even though, you know, I'm a fan of music, I'm not a fan of music, I think people deserve a voice, and voice that to your councilor, because municipal politics, whether you like it or not, is actually the most direct form of politics that impacts you the most.
Mm-hmm.
So be active, take 2 seconds, or even just like do an Instagram and a hashtag or an @ you know, but voice your opinion if you'd like to keep music going.
There you go.